So so I realized it's best if I cut people off and I start over. College bands are horrible. You know, they're all lazy pooches. They don't respect their own time. They don't respect your time. Okay, I had two things. I had an erection, and my right leg was shaking, screaming, and everybody's yelling. I really enjoy that.
The blood एकदम
There's
pump हो रहा होता है.
yeah, full pump. I Super Saiyan mode, Goku जैसा. I feel that like the blood's flowing everywhere. So even there.
Cool, man. Tell me about your book, man. ये कैसा है book? Well, it's the sins of our flags, right?
Huh.
I want to know about your pen name. Uh,
The Dodo Bird.
yep. मतलब कब
So
कब सोचा कब आया तेरे दिमाग में and when did you start implementing it as your pen name?
okay, so it really started with this book.
Mm,
Uh, First thing is, well, Dodo has always been my nickname.
yeah.
And I put Bird because I'm also a fan of Tom and Jerry. Because Thomas the cat,
Mm-hmm.
Jerry the mouse, Dodo the bird.
Oh, okay.
Dodo bird.
Okay. It is spelled like BYRD, right?
RDE, yes.
Okay. So any significance to that? Like BYRD.
No, then it feels like a proper name and not an animal. So absurd name lag raha hai.
Oh
But
yeah.
really it's just Pakshi.
तो तेरे को डोडो बर्ड इन जनरल अच्छा लगता
Yeah.
है एक्सटिंक्ट हो गया ना
Uh,
दैट्स व्हाई
yes.
अभी भी एक ही बच्चा है डोडो टाइप्स
Yes, there's only one left. Endangered. More like.
Oh man. So have you been following my podcast channel? तू पहली बार देख रहा है सुन रहा है या क्या सीन है पॉडकास्ट का
No,
मतलब
I only saw the trailers in Instagram.
हम्म
Uh, तो मुझे अच्छा लगा. Like there was one with Ajit and Souvik.
ओके
Uh, so I saw those two. बस trailer देखा था. I didn't see the entire video.
ओके
That I'll say that. हाँ.
तो तेरे को पहले से पता होगा कि हमारा थीम क्या है नॉर्मली
Yes.
जब बात करते हैं वी जस्ट फोकस ऑन कि हमारा जर्नी कैसे था बिकॉज इट्स अ फैक्ट राइट हम बच्चे से
Hmm.
एडोलेसेंस क्रॉस करके अडल्टहुड में जाते हैं दैट थिंग
Hmm.
इज लाइक कंप्लीटली मेस्ड अप
Hmm.
एंड लाइफ का इम्पोर्टेंट लर्निंग्स ओनली दैट ड्यूरेशन में होता है ये होता है कि लाइफ बाद में यू टर्न लेगा इन फ्यूचर बट द फर्स्ट
Hmm.
जो भी नो मतलब नोइंगली अगर हमारा ग्रोथ होता है तो इस पर्टिकुलर ड्यूरेशन में होता है राइट तो
हाँ इसी ड्यूरेशन में होता.
डोडो मैं तेरे को कॉलेज के टाइम से जानता हूँ लाइक वी हैव
Hmm.
बीन इन मल्टीपल क्लब्स एंड ऑल एंड
Yes.
यू आर एक्सट्रीमली टैलेंटेड डूड यू आर
Thank you.
म्यूजिशियन राइटर तेरा
Hmm.
पोएट्री स्किल्स राइटिंग स्किल्स टू रिसाइट करता है आई हैव सीन ऑल दो स्टफ एंड
Yes.
it's motivating and inspiring too so what got you started to the creative side
Uh, okay, so first, so it was really an exposure. Basically, my parents and family got me into music.
mm-hmm.
Uh, Poetry and recitation was really my grandfather.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, it was my grandfather. And writing, I've always wanted to do. I really started writing at a very young age. Three Musketeers Padke, I liked it so much that I was writing fan fiction,
Oh.
thinking it's कि उसका sequel मैं लिख रहा हूँ. बट उसका असल में सीक्वल है जो आज तक मैंने नहीं पढ़ा.
Oh.
बट आई रोट इट माय वे. इट वाज बच्चा क्या लिख सकता है. सो
What was your age then?
9.
9. You started writing fan fiction when you were 9. Man,
9.
crazy.
Yeah, and I actually started writing because uh, Harry Potter was the craze
Mm-hmm.
even at that time. And I remember being shamed for not reading Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Oh.
So yeah, so I was like, screw it. I'll write my books and I'll read my books.
So you wrote it for yourself. The story, first
Yeah, for
storybook you have
myself.
written.
Yes.
Okay.
Uh,
So yeah, it takes me back to my day when I wrote a book. उस समय फेमस फाइव करके बुक बहुत फेमस था.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Henry Blyton.
या सो हमारे यहाँ पे इट वाज अ नॉर्म कि एवरी चाइल्ड इन आवर क्लास वाज इशूड अ बुक. ओके.
Yes.
फेमस फेमस
Mm,
फाइव का. तो आई रेड इट. दैट वाज द फर्स्ट बुक, फर्स्ट फिक्शनल बुक आई हैव
mm,
एवर रेड. उसके
mm,
बाद आई डोंट नो व्हाट क्लिक्ड. आई थॉट कि हमारे क्लासरूम में जितने भी बच्चे हैं उनको
mm.
मैं अपने एरिया में एक छोटा सा डिटेक्टिव स्किल्स, डिटेक्टिव जॉनर,
Nice.
हाँ मतलब थ्रिलर
No.
जॉनर में मैं इंक्लूड कर सकता हूँ. एंड
Yes.
इट वाज लाइक, मेरे को पता नहीं, इट केम नेचुरली टू मी. मैं एक दिन गया.
Mm,
आई वाज इन माई सिक्स्थ और
mm,
सेवेंथ, आई डोंट रिमेम्बर.
mm,
तो मैं
mm.
गया मम्मी के पास. मम्मी को बोला कि मेरे को पेन खरीदना. ठीक है.
हाँ.
और मेरे को महंगा वाला पेन खरीदना. दैट टाइम वो पेन रहता है ना, पायलट पेन. एक रहता था
हाँ.
पायलट. दैट दैट वाज द
Yes, yes,
क्रेज.
yes.
वो मेरे को,
That's an awesome pen.
या वो वाइट कलर का रहता है, जो भी इनका
Mm.
कलर है ऊपर रहता है.
Yes.
मैन.
Beautiful.
तो वो पेन खरीदा. एंड यू नो व्हाट, उस पेन से मैं, नॉर्मली लोग लिखते हैं, नोट्स लिखते हैं, ये लिखते हैं ना. नो,
हाँ.
मैं अपने रिलीजियसली वो पेन को एक कोने में रखता हूँ. एंड एंड आई हैव यूज दैट पेन टू राइट द बुक. ठीक है. एंड
Yeah.
यू नो व्हाट डोडो, मैंने एक छोटा सा बुक लिया, लाइक लाइक
Mm,
शॉर्ट शॉर्ट नोट्स, रूल्ड सिंगल रूल्ड
mm,
पेपर. मैं लिखना स्टार्ट कर
mm,
दिया.
mm,
अपने एरिया में जो घर है वो सब लिख रहा था.
mm.
ड्रॉ कर, मतलब
हाँ.
विजुअली अपीलिंग स्टोरीज ऐसे लिख रहा था. ठीक है. एंड आई हैव
Mm.
इंक्लूडेड ऑलमोस्ट, इट वाज फेमस फाइव ना, इट लाइक माय लोकल एरिया रिप ऑफ वर्जन ऑफ फेमस फाइव लिख रहा था. कि
Nice.
यहाँ से ये
Nice.
चोरी हो गया, यहाँ से ये चोरी हो गया. एंड यू नो व्हाट,
Mm,
आई रोट अ स्टोरी, आई कंप्लीटेड इट. मैं थोड़ा और
mm,
एक्सटेंड करना चाहता था. एंड
mm.
मेरा पेन का इंक खत्म हो गया. एंड पता है, उसके बाद वो लिखने
Mm.
का मन भी चला गया.
अच्छा.
ओके. देन उसके बाद मैं राइटिंग चालू किया अपने कॉलेज के टाइम पे. उस समय जो ब्रेक
Yeah.
लिया था राइटिंग स्टोरीज,
Mm,
तब से
mm,
कॉलेज में स्टार्ट किया था. सो
mm.
यू स्टार्टेड राइटिंग योर शॉर्ट स्टोरी देन, लाइक व्हेन यू वर 9 years. तो
Yeah.
उसके बाद
9 years.
व्हेन डिड यू गेट इनटू पोएट्री?
Poetry was really my grandfather. My grandfather is the reason why I got into poetry.
हम्म.
But I figured out that while I was writing songs,
हम्म.
मुझे realize that I will need poems because songs are really poems
या.
lyrically. You know, there is poems. एक जगह हाँ chorus will be repeated here and there, but they're really poems. तो वो कैसे गाने में डालूं? तो
हम्म.
इसीलिए I started reading poetry and started to understand. And we don't really need to go through some high profile what do you say author. Just a minute. अरे ring कर रहा है phone.
कोई नहीं, कोई नहीं.
Yeah, I'll silent करता हूँ उसको.
ओके.
Yeah. So मेरा so what I was saying is कि हाँ that उसको मैं गाने में कैसे डालूं, wording
हम्म.
कैसे होनी चाहिए, how it should rhyme, how it should sound.
हम्म.
So keeping all that in mind, I started writing poems. But to be honest, poetry came to me very late. I mean, anybody will like say that it's early, but
हम्म.
compared to when I actually started writing stories,
हम्म.
poetry came a lot later. I was probably 15, 16 when I really started writing
ओके.
poetry. But the purpose was just for the songs. So, matlab, if you just told me to recite it, no, I
हम्म.
would put a tune with it. तो
ओके.
एक सुर होता था, उसको सूट करने के लिए मैं लिरिक्स लिखता था.
ओके.
तो
एंड
या
ये जो तू करता था, लिखना ये सब,
हम्म
तूने कुछ ब्रेक लिया बीच में, या फिर यू जस्ट कंटिन्यूड, यू वर कंसिस्टेंट फ्रॉम द एज ऑफ 9?
No, I was not consistent from the age of 9. I did take breaks, but they were not huge. They were not like years gap between them. I was,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so it would be like, suppose for 6 months straight I was writing.
Mm-hmm.
The next 2 months I won't write.
Okay.
Or yeah, या फिर एग्जाम के टाइम में नहीं लिखूंगा. You
Okay.
know, I would just study and that. या फिर
Mm-hmm.
whenever something was going on, be it पूजा में सोसाइटी में नाच गाने का प्रैक्टिस हो
हाँ.
या annual concert whatever, so I would not write on those times.
Okay.
It was like that. हाँ.
Okay.
तो मैं उसका फायदा उठा के I used to take a break from writing.
Mm-hmm.
And the and the best part was I was so observant that कुछ ना कुछ मिल जाता था मुझे
Mm-hmm.
content. कुछ ना कुछ content. Yeah.
So, ऐसा can I deduce like जो भी तेरे अंदर का जो passion था everything it was not imposed by someone. तुमने
Mm,
direct discover किया या फिर
हाँ.
okay.
Yeah, मुझे exposure मिला था. You know,
Okay,
it
you
was it
chose
was
this.
an
Okay,
exposure. Yeah.
I want to do this, so I'm going to do this.
हाँ हाँ. तो
Okay.
but of course पहले पहले मुझे expose किया गया था towards it.
Mm-hmm.
तो my parents introduced me to singing, dancing
Mm-hmm.
and all. Teacher लाए थे, tutor था. I would घर पे ही सिखाते थे. तो पहले I was interested in dancing.
Mm-hmm.
भारतनाट्यम भी सीखा था थोड़ा.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but then the interest fizzled out, and my interest with music and writing stayed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I continued with that. I was not pressured to, stick to it.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, you could say I was pressured to start.
Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
that's
Start and figure out.
okay.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, exam time and all. 9th और 10th
Mm.
में तेरे को पता है कि बहुत स्ट्रेस प्रेशर ये सब ने फेस किया है क्योंकि
Yeah.
एक बहुत टर्निंग पॉइंट है ना बोला जाता है कि 9th 10th टर्निंग
Hmm.
पॉइंट है दैट वाज व्हाट सेड टू अस
Hmm.
तो उस समय व्हाट वाज योर माइंडसेट एंड हाउ वर यू कोपिंग अप विद एवरीथिंग ड्यूरिंग दैट
So for me, I had no problem with ninth and 10th.
टाइम
My problem was at 11th and 12th.
ओके
11th and 12th was a rough patch for me. Ninth and 10th was, see, I've always been a easy go lucky fellow. So जो हो रहा है चल रहा है, and I'll make the best out of the situation I was in. In 11th and 12th, I had a hard time doing.
ओके
So uh, yeah, and that where I couldn't write stories. The only thing I could write was songs.
ओके
I had a limited time to spend on my hobbies because pressure सबका ही था पढ़ना. Like even if घर पे pressure हो या ना हो, school से तो मिलेगा ही, teacher से तो मिलेगा ही.
राइट
So yeah, so वैसा था. So मुझे time नहीं मिला था to indulge in all of my hobbies. I could only stick to one or two at a time.
ओके
तो वो एक problem हो गया था.
ओके
Yeah.
सो
Hmm.
कट टू गीतम तो कॉलेज
Yeah.
आने से पहले लाइक तेरा ये लाइक डिड यू डिसाइड कि तू गीतम ही आएगा या फिर डिड यू ट्राई एनी अदर कॉलेजेस एज वेल
No, I tried other colleges. Geetam mein was so that year I had no intention of studying in college. मेरा कोई intention नहीं था. तो my parents were like तुम try कर लो, you know. And जब मैं ज्यादा जिद किया था, my dad was like या तो तुम college जाओगे या तो तुम रास्ते पे रहोगे.
अरे बाप रे
He just wanted me to give an exam. Now that I think, but
ओके
I do, but I'm a bit bitter about it sometimes. But yeah, so he sort of said that, and I tried. मैं कोई expect ही नहीं किया. I didn't prepare for much test. वही एक दिन के पहले थोड़ा इधर उधर brush up करो.
नो आई एम
What
लिटिल
I said.
सरप्राइज्ड बाय योर आंसर मतलब
Yeah,
11 12th में लोग बोलते हैं नहीं मैं आईआईटी एम कर रहा था आईआईटी के लिए ट्राई कर रहा था
yeah.
यू डिडंट गो टू दैट लाइक टुवर्ड्स दैट पाथ आईआईटी
No,
जाना है ये
I mean, I did try, but but I was not determined to do it. I used to tell others I was interested in it, but my intention was always creative stuff,
ओके
writing and music and other. So मेरा intention हमेशा ही वही था. And I also saw कि बाद में मुझे लगा हाँ that through engineering and science also I can do creative things,
Mm-hmm.
like someone can make a train, right, that's going to run for 10, 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be useful for everyone as well.
Mm-hmm.
So even those things I thought I could do. So as long as it was creative, I was fine with it. But didn't have a lofty ambition कि IIT ही जाना है. I used it as a mask to show कि हाँ मैं I'm to blend in with the crowd. But मेरा कोई intention था ही नहीं. I had no intention of such kind.
Talking about blending in crowds, like तेरे को अभी क्या लग रहा है, तेरे को वो करना चाहिए था उस समय, ब्लेंडिंग इन द क्राउड?
नहीं, नहीं.
तो ये
And
तुझे कब रियलाइज हुआ, like I should
uh,
start?
once uh, once 11th 12th were over, I realized that because I didn't used to do that before.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, on other things I didn't blend in. I only blended in on this, and that's when I felt sick.
Okay.
Uh, I felt sick. It's like I'm not
Being
being
yourself,
myself.
yeah.
हाँ, authentic नहीं हूँ. You know, I'm bonding with people on the basis of a lie.
Yeah.
So I felt very sick. Uh, मैं पेट में दर्द हो रहा था. you know.
Yeah.
So I couldn't take it. So I made it a point कि जो मन में है बोलूंगा.
Mm-hmm.
सही हो या गलत. गलत है I'll rectify. सही है तो ठीक है. Whatever is in my mind I'll tell. I actually had no intention in this thing. मेरा हाँ. So then I tried some entrance exams, and I got in 3 or 4 colleges,
Mm-hmm.
maybe five. And as I was doing counseling, I bumped into people I knew.
Okay.
Uh, yeah,
Your
bumped
schoolmates.
into हाँ, either it was schoolmates या society के लोग, पुराने school के तो someone I knew.
Mm.
But in Geetam, I didn't know anyone
Okay.
who was there,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I went. Because if I was in a place where I knew some people, uh, either I would be stuck in the group,
Mm-hmm.
उसी group में पड़ा रहता, and I would have not met new people, or and another thing was I would have to keep that act going on. So I didn't see the point anymore.
Okay.
So I realized it's best if I cut people off and I start over and be a more authentic version of myself. And I was able to do that in college.
Okay. So, uh, was it? I know it's not easy to do it, but what was your major, pointers while doing that, while starting this thing over again? कि नहीं, मेरे को
Hmm.
अभी अपना दूसरा, I should change my personality now. I should work on myself. I should start again. ऐसे करके तू अभी बोला ना, तो उस समय
Hmm.
तेरा मेजर पॉइंटर्स क्या है, तू अपने आप में क्या ऑब्जर्व किया था
Uh,
ड्यूरिंग द
my
प्रोसेस, लाइक नॉट द कंक्लूजन, चेंज होने के बाद नहीं,
hmm.
ड्यूरिंग द प्रोसेस?
Yes, during the process, what I realized that uh, I was realizing not just the way how I was behaving, but I felt that's how the world was working. It was all in images,
या.
and as I was looking back, it was not just me who was trying to blend in. There were other people too who were trying to blend in and act superior, and try to show that they're doing something.
Mm-hmm.
But we were all clueless in that field.
Yeah.
We didn't know if it was going to work or not. So I realized that we were not just by being a fake version of ourselves, not only we were damaging our own, तो अपने आप को तो damage कर ही रहे हैं,
Mm-hmm.
but we were also messing up other people
Mm-hmm.
because they also had to have to keep the image, and we were trying to one up each other. सब एक दूसरे के ऊपर जा रहे हैं, and it's just a bag of lies at this point.
Yeah.
you know कि मैं वन गाय वुड से मैंने एनसीईआरटी का मैथ्स खत्म कर दिया, एक और बोलते हैं नहीं मैंने एनसीईआरटी और आरएस अग्रवाल भी कर दिया,
Mm.
और तीसरा बोलते हैं मैंने आरडी शर्मा भी खत्म कर दिया, आई एम प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर मैथ्स, आई विल एस इट. बट everybody was lying.
Did
You
you
know,
ever stop and ask why these people are lying करके?
for me, I didn't want to. At the time, I was not interested in why they were lying. I was more interested in why I was lying.
Mhm.
मैं खुद क्यों झूठ बोल रहा था? Like, I
Okay,
mean, I know they were full of trash, but why did I have to be full of trash?
lovely man,
मैं
lovely.
क्यों?
You had the focus in the right
Yeah.
space. So, uh, yeah. So, did you, matlab, after you have, started a new chapter in your life, कि
Hmm.
मैं अभी से ये करूँगा, how
Hmm.
did you ever empathize with those people who used to be that older version of you?
With some,
Mm-hmm.
not all.
Okay.
I only did it with people who tried to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and the kind that didn't belittle others.
Okay.
जब कोई, so I remember, right? जब कोई बोल रहा था ना, मैंने आर डी शर्मा खत्म किया
हाँ
किया था.
हाँ.
वो नॉट जस्ट ही इज नॉट जस्ट सेइंग कि मैं अच्छा हूँ. वो कह रहा है कि तुम नालायक हो, तुमसे कुछ नहीं होगा.
Okay.
you know is sort of pointing on others. See, I've done so much, and see how low you are. You're beneath me.
Okay.
ऐसे करके, या तो मुझे वो लोग पसंद. आई did not want to empathize with those kind of
So
people.
all narcissistic fellows.
Yeah. I only wanted to empathize with people who were just trying to fit in and be at the status quo, but they never, दूसरों को नीचा नहीं दिखाया
Mm-hmm.
क्योंकि वो अपना इमेज रख रहे थे. you know
So yeah. तो उसके बाद क्या हुआ? After you like तेरा transition successful होने के बाद ये हो गया? Is it still an ongoing process or is it completely did you transition yourself?
it will always be an ongoing process, Dhanush, because the way I see it, in every phase of life, we are always one-upping each other in some way or the other.
Yeah.
You know, if it is not through degree, it is through money. If it's not through money, it is through, who we are dating even. That, or the fact that someone is dating and the others aren't.
Mm-hmm.
That's that these little things we use to one up each other. And I'm just trying my best to, keep it at the minimum. you know जितना कम हो सकते हैं, I'll do it. तो वही एक है.
Okay, so whenever when someone goes through this process, they go through alone, right? So,
Hmm.
तेरे life में like was it the same? Did you go through it alone या फिर मतलब तू क्या चाहता था कि when it comes to company, what was it
Hmm.
that you wanted when you were going through the process?
So I realized कि for this process to work, I have to be straight up honest and maybe even brash about the kind of company I want.
Mm-hmm.
I've always found कि जब हम ऐसे बात करते हैं ना, I find this more fulfilling,
Okay.
you know, than just small talk. तुम कैसे हो, खाना खाया ये नहीं.
Mm.
Okay, you can start with that, but it can't just be that. You know, I जैसे you were asking about how was the life and what do you look back at. I like to talk about these things
Mm-hmm.
and understand their experiences and my experiences. You know, so and through other experiences, I end up learning my own experience. एक अलग insight मिलता है. You
Okay.
know, तो
So.
मुझे वो चीज, या ये चीज मैं वैल्यू करता था. And whoever was able to pull that off, I have been talking to them ever since, and I also talk to you now. So
Mm.
because I get this, we're talking about life and we're understanding things, so
Mm-hmm.
एक ना एक perspective मिलता है.
Mm-hmm. Uh, तो एक बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है ठीक है
Hmm.
डिड यू लाइक योर कॉलेज लाइफ
Yes and no. uh there were aspects of it that I enjoyed in college.
ओके
uh I I I loved being by myself in the hostel. I had a fantastic roommate.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Keshav.
Mm-hmm.
He was a fantastic roommate. I had made wonderful friends. You, Sai, Arnab, uh, a lot of mane, generally good friends. Animesh,
Mm-hmm.
I got along with them very well, and we've had great times. And but the the part that I didn't like was that what I'd actually gone for college was to find a creative way to do with technology. I didn't get that.
Okay.
मुझे मुझे वो मिला नहीं जैसे मैं चाहता था. मुझे मुझे वो मिला नहीं. I only got that in the first year of college, that this scope was possible, but from second year it felt like back to school. हम नोट्स लिख रहे हैं, रट्टा मार के लिख दिया, पास हो गया, मार्क्स आ गए, उससे शायद जॉब होगा या नहीं होगा, वॉट एवर. सो इट वही मुझे लगा था.
सब
It
जॉब के
became
पीछे भागने के लिए मतलब एवरीथिंग वाज अबाउट
us.
जॉब.
It was about the job. And the most messed up part was, okay, you have a university that is, getting students in on the
Mm.
basis of the fact that there are jobs here, right?
Mm.
But on the fourth year, right? On the fourth year, they're asking extra money for job preparation, for interview, for cracking interviews and job preparations. I
Mm-hmm.
found that very disturbing
Mm-hmm.
because you could, because I think what was our fees, like 2 point something L,
Yeah.
right? 2 point something lakhs, right? So we were already paying that in a yearly basis, and they were asking like another 4 digit or 5 digit number for, so that they could do the placements
Placement.
correct.
Yes.
I Yeah, I didn't get that. Like, why were they doing this? Uh, you know, it
Yeah.
should have been in our curriculum.
I actually asked the authorities. They were like, the fees you are paying that covers the tuition fee. This is like an optional thing. If you want, we can sit in the placements. If not,
Uh,
then don't pay. And it was as clear as that. हमारे
yeah.
counselors and teachers in charge, they were very, very much direct about this, right? बोलते हैं कि
Yes.
if you don't want placement, then don't pay. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah. मतलब job के लिए you have to pay that extra 7K.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking to a few friends of mine. It was a joke.
Mm.
It was the stuff they learned in the first year,
Mm.
that communications and all. They were more or less taught the same thing, that, and
Yeah.
maybe some technical stuff here and there. But really, it was the first year में जो communications में सिखाया था.
Mm.
It was exactly that they were being taught, which they could have easily added in the last year के एक दो semester में डाल ही सकते थे.
Mm-hmm.
I I don't know why, and I think that they should have put every semester, because not all the students were like us. They were not, सब English medium में पढ़ के नहीं गए थे.
True.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
they were, they were in Telugu medium or Bengali medium or Marathi medium.
Mm-hmm.
अपने अपने local languages में पढ़ रहे थे, and to get a job, English speaking was, it still is important.
Yeah, the sole requirement.
Sole requirement, one of the sole requirements, right? So, so agar you are getting people from such backgrounds, you could have at least used 4 years to build these guys up, so that they could get a job or something. But no, they had to take extra 7,000 rupees for that
Yeah,
placement thing.
placement support.
So
Yeah.
yeah, placement support.
So,
So
Dodo, uh,
mhm.
what was your like the best moment in your college life? Yeah, but the best story of your college life.
Okay, best story. Well, there are many good stories.
Hmm.
So I'll tell one. Remember, right? I sang "It's My Life."
Yeah,
Uh,
I guess.
वो गुस्सैक में. So the thing was that I was. It was my first performance for Kalakriti. In the first year, I was not act. were not that active in the club because
Mm.
I was more into rock and metal, and most guys out there were not into that genre.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So so there's this guy called Ashish. Ashish Bhaiya was there, and he said, "Why don't you sing? You sing, it's my life."
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah, that's a song I can do, and I'll do it. So beach mein they were all, and I found out later that there was a bit that many were trying to make sure that I don't perform because I give up this vibe that I'm very shy and introvert and everything, right? So they didn't have expectations
Mm-hmm.
that I'd pull it off. Anyway, so we practiced and I was singing and I sort of showed my group, and Ashish Bhai and all that, yeah, I can do it right. I'll do it well, and
Mm-hmm.
it'll be smooth. And then the performance happens, right? My leg is shaking. Okay. My right leg. I mean, I remember the entire performance. Okay, I had two things. I had an erection, and my right leg was shaking. That's a weird thing. Okay, one should feel great, one should not feel great. Uh, I always and yeah, I do have erections when I'm singing on stage and I'm like screaming and everybody's yelling. I really enjoy that.
मतलब ब्लड एकदम
There's
पंप हो रहा होता है.
yeah,
हाँ.
full pump. I Super Saiyan mode with Goku jaisa.
Hmm.
I feel that it's like the blood's flowing everywhere. So even there, नीचे भी हो रहा है, ऊपर भी हो रहा है. It's like flowing everywhere. So and I start singing, right?
Hmm.
And beach mein na, uh, and and suddenly, hooting and all was going on. Some guys were hooting right, left, center. I'm
हाँ.
like, yeah, it's good. So then I started singing, but weirdly my leg was shaking even faster
हाँ.
for some reason. you know and then I just and then to make it stop, right, I just took the mic ka stand uthaya and I was walking around and I
हाँ.
was singing, and then it stopped. I realized that I can't stay in one place when I'm performing.
ओके. तो
you know?
इसीलिए क्या, इसलिए सिंगर्स यहाँ से वहां भागते रहते हैं क्या?
Yeah. At least मैं तो भागता हूँ. I can't stay in one place. Let's just go around.
Hmm.
You know. For me, it was really impatience, but for others, it could even be a coping mechanism for nervousness,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then I just growled, "It's my life," and everybody was like hooting and all, and yeah, and I was able to prove the naysayers. I don't know who were the naysayers,
Hmm.
but after that, they couldn't say that I couldn't pull off a performance.
Okay.
Yeah.
मतलब
Uh,
दिस इज द बेस्ट स्टोरी बिकॉज तूने कॉलेज में अपना औकात दिखा दिया कि बेंचो डोडो
yeah,
में
yeah,
याद
yeah.
रखना करके.
Upon, yes, upon उड़ा देगा. And every time I got, I like it may not be as great as that, but it was still like at par, and I gave good performances. I mean, you've seen them, right?
Yeah, I've seen every performance of
Yeah,
yours. मतलब जब स्टोरी बता रहा था, it was coming to me कि हाँ,
yeah,
yeah, this was the
yeah,
moment like Dodo shocked me too, ऐसे करके. I have
yeah,
never seen you
yeah.
singing or performing or doing anything, right? तब तक मैं
Yes,
जानता भी नहीं था you write and all.
yeah,
तो
yeah.
इसीलिए.
And I had this rep of a very studious fellow.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I used to
yeah,
think भाई ये तो टॉपर है भाई.
yeah. I was nowhere a topper. I was just like, yeah, I studied. मैं जान लगा के पढ़ता था,
Mm-hmm.
in the first year. But that was it. मैं topper material नहीं हूँ. But yeah, that was it. And I used to do things in the side. So that's when everyone got to know that, yeah, okay, he's not a dork.
And did मतलब कुछ change आया the way the people were treating you उसके बाद?
Uh, to an extent,
Okay.
there was some, to an extent, but I still, but I was still an underdog because I shocked them once.
Okay.
I had to show them again and again that I could actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, by the time my third year came, I like everybody knows that, yeah, he'll come. Performance is smooth. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
So it was that, and and then I had thought like yeah, I put nice performances. How can I put something better?
Mm-hmm.
उससे आगे क्या कर सकते? It can't just be 100 on 100 and done. Let's make it 110.
Mm.
Let's do better. अगर बेहतर कर सकते हैं तो करो.
Mm.
So I always thought like that. And of course, I made more friends after this. After the thing, I got, like, everybody knew that I was in the club, because
Mm.
उससे पहले I was just a member. Nobody knew I was there.
Mhm.
you know so after that, yeah, everybody knows, oh, there's this guy called Dodo, he sings. And yeah, and before I know it, I was befriending a lot of people. And I've been closest with Faces,
Okay.
especially, as a cultural group.
Mhm.
So I mean, I really thank Faces, because Faces is the reason why I became integrated. Especially Vivek Bhaiya and Yogesh Bhaiya.
Yeah.
You know, I became more involved in the club affairs, and I started actually working and putting effort. I
Mhm.
even remember wearing suit to wearing someone's blazer to go for a sponsorship once.
Oh.
But I mean, it's spread around. But yeah, I remember doing that also once.
Talking about
It didn't,
student bodies and clubs, right?
yeah,
तो मतलब बहुत politics होते हैं, बहुत बहुत ज़्यादा politics होते हैं.
yeah,
And
yeah,
how did it affect you, seeing in the politics? Like it's very difficult to not get involved in the politics, in student bodies,
yeah.
right? So how
Hmm.
did it affect you?
So I saw two extremes of this.
Mm-hmm.
If like, if you're, because everybody knew me as, I think even you did, as the guy who just did his stuff
Mm-hmm.
and went back home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, अपना गाना किया, सीखा, perform किया, घर चला गया. Okay, so when I was in that state, I was really sidelined. I was not brought in important decisions at all. I would attend the meetings, I'd see what's going on, but every time I was there, I felt like everybody had something, some weird agenda of theirs to control the club in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
And it and I got to know to what extent it was when in my final year, when I actually became involved in the student activities.
Okay.
And I realized that why my criticisms of the shows that we are having has not been replicated, because certain people have decided कि यही audience को पसंद है और यही बजाएंगे.
Okay.
you know and I found that insulting, because you cannot tell that your audience is dumb. you
Mm-hmm.
know your audience should decide समझ में आ रहा है या नहीं.
Mm-hmm.
वो audience को समझना है. And if you say it's not accepted because because it's intellectual, the onus is on you.
Mm-hmm.
you know because if you cannot engage your audience to like that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
then who will? you
Yeah.
know
Right.
Responsibility हमारी ही है as artists. In, of course, in college sphere, but still,
Mm.
we were the art elite in our college,
Yeah.
right? तो वो onus हम पे ही पड़ता है, because we are supposed to own up to this. And there was, I didn't find anyone owned up to that at all. In fact, and other side of me also thought that they didn't want to put the effort to write something good or put something you know mind blowing out there. कोई vision नहीं था
Yeah.
in a performance
It's like एक
wise.
formula मिल गया, let's stick to it.
Let's stick to it. कोई vision नहीं है, कोई determination नहीं है,
Mm.
just formula पे focus कर रहे हैं. And they were using this excuse to continue using this formula.
Okay.
That also I thought sometimes ये एक बहाना था. Because and I'll tell you this, because I think it was Faces that pulled it off. They did something really good back in IIT Kharagpur. I
Mm-hmm.
remember it was
Yeah.
my second year, and the first time I went with Kalakriti, and they came fourth, right?
Yeah.
And it was a fantastic mime. I think even you were in the writing thing. You,
Yeah.
Surya,
Yeah. We
yeah,
used, Acha, mime, you're talking about mime.
yeah,
Mime I
mime.
wasn't a part of, but
Oh,
the
you were
street
in the
play.
Nukkad.
Nukkad.
Yes, Nukkad भी
I
अच्छा
was
था
at
यार.
the initial, जब initial draft बना था, I was the lead
हाँ.
writer in that. So उसके बाद
Hmm.
I left the club. I had to try
Hmm.
other clubs as well, तो मैं छोड़ दिया.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, so you were involved in that, and
Hmm.
it was a very strong nukkad. Yeah, of course, performance में थोड़ा problem हो गया था because everybody had terrible sore throats. Everybody,
Yeah.
me included, सबका गला खराब हो गया था. But as a script, it was fantastic. तो
Hmm.
मुझे लगा हाँ quality हो रहा है. कुछ लोग हैं that are doing. That's why I used to hang out with faces a lot
Okay.
because yeah, they had a vision to do something different. They wanted intelligent stuff out there.
Hmm.
They wanted everyone to enjoy that as much as they did.
Hmm.
You guys
Yeah.
did. That's why I used to hang out with these guys a lot. And I found very hard to hang out with my club. It was first the college bands are horrible. You know, they're all lazy pooches. They don't respect their own time. They don't respect your time.
Yeah.
They were not as punctual as faces and dance club was.
Man,
You know,
we had to make them punctual, you know.
yeah,
Matlab, see, coming from a defense
mm,
background, I was in a military school, dude. So वहाँ पे
yeah,
even a second late it counts like hell. हमें
late,
like gate बंद कर देते थे. They make a stand outside. And upon that, I was in NCC also, dude. If I am a second
yeah,
late, they'll make me do 50 push-ups or 100 push-ups also.
yeah,
So coming from that background and वापस faces में आना where 4:30 बुलाने से 4:45 तक लोग धीरे धीरे आना
hmm,
start करते हैं. So that really
hmm,
pissed me off. The one reason why certain clubs are were strong because
hmm,
when it comes to acting, when you're managing more and more people, right, around
hmm,
20 to
hmm,
30 people तो
hmm,
मैनेज कर रहा है, तो वहाँ पे सॉफ्ट टॉक्स और उनसे एकदम काम बात करके शोल्डर पे हाथ डाल के बात करने से नहीं चलेगा.
नहीं चलेगा.
ओके. सेम फॉर डांस एज वेल. डांस में भी हो तो देखेगा
Hmm,
दे जस्ट वांट, मतलब इट्स अ टीम टास्क, राइट, नॉट इंडिविजुअल
yeah,
इंडिविजुअल परफॉर्मेंस तो नहीं है. अगर एक बंदा
hmm,
लेट होगा तो ऑब्वियसली पूरा टीम इफेक्ट होगा. तो इट्स लाइक दैट.
hmm,
बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू
hmm,
म्यूजिक आई गेस उतना ज़्यादा इन्वॉल्वमेंट नहीं होगा. व्हेन इट कम्स टू अ ग्रुप परफॉर्मेंस,
hmm,
बैंड परफॉर्मेंस,
hmm,
हाँ, तभी ज़्यादा फोकस रहता है. बट आई गेस,
hmm,
आई थिंक तुम लोग इंडिविजुअली भी प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हो. At the
hmm.
last week or so, you guys try to sync up together. Then this,
We always did that, and I found that frustrating
okay.
because see, तुम band is a team after all. ये
Hmm.
छोटा team but a team. साथ में मिलके बजाएंगे, ताल में ताल मिला के गाएंगे. It was supposed to be like that, but हमारा क्या होता है लास्ट वीक में ऐसे कर दो धूमधाम, and rest of the time you're just sitting there, कोई अपना इंस्ट्रूमेंट नहीं ला रहा है.
Hmm.
And the thing was, the instrumentalists back there, they used to take everyone else for granted.
Hmm. Hmm.
And because firstly उनके पसंद के गाने they couldn't play,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
you know they had to play the massy stuff. And second, because उसके अलावा कोई बजाने वाला थे नहीं, या
Hmm.
फिर there were no guys who could play
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
instrument
Yeah.
within the club. So they used to take advantage of that and boss us around. You know,
Okay.
yeah. Of course, when Ashish Bhaiya and Palan were there,
It was a little bit different, I guess.
it was different. It was better.
Hmm.
But then that changed when other leads started coming in, and more and more people were taken for granted.
Hmm.
What made it worse was that there was no set, and there were too many singers.
Okay.
Uh, so there would be like 4 5 instrumentalists, and there would be like 10 15 singers, maybe even 20 singers.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
भर भर के singers थे. And our time slot would be given कितना 45 minutes देते थे,
Hmm.
you know so at the max. And the thing was, the सब 2 minute 3 minute करके गा के निकल रहे हैं.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I didn't like that part because I think everybody should sing an entire song where instrumentalists are playing the solos and everything, and it's done. Because see, you guys, right, when you do a team thing, होम ग्राउंड पे तुम पूरा टेस्ट मैच खेल रहे
Yeah.
हो, राइट. और फिर बाहर किसी दूसरे के ग्राउंड पे तुम वही मैच खेल रहे हो,
Hmm.
राइट.
Hmm. Right.
यू आर प्लेइंग द गेम.
Yeah.
तो होम ग्राउंड पे तो तुम्हारा सक्सेस का चांस हमेशा ज्यादा रहता है.
Right. True.
यू नो
Hmm.
तुम्हारे सपोर्टर्स भी है, द स्टेडियम इज stadium, the stage is familiar also.
Hmm.
You know how to deal with matters.
Hmm.
But bahar mein it's different. So agar home ground mein you cannot pull off a complete performance,
Hmm.
how will you do that outside?
Yeah.
Right. तो हमारा क्या था, they used to do some rubbish collage thing, and बाहर जो members थे, they were not there. It was always the instrumentalists that were there, because they were the in the stage all the time.
Hmm.
They could put up a show. They could actually put up a show for 45 minutes or 1 hour straight.
Hmm.
So they were the ones playing, and the singer would be someone else from outside. So it was not really our college pals.
Hmm.
माने हमारे club directly नहीं करते थे. It was someone from outside used to join, who was once a student of Geetham, would
Okay.
join us, and then yeah. तो वैसे ही एक दो कंपटीशन भी जीते थे म्यूजिक क्लब.
Hmm.
But the way singing and all was treated, I thought it was off, because vocalist का भी तो एक audience indulgence है, and they can
Hmm.
do the most,
Right.
because the instrumental is like preoccupied. Drummer का तो हाथ पैर दोनों ही
Hmm.
strapped है, वो क्या करेगा? At the most he can move his head,
Yeah.
right? The guitarists and the pianists have their instruments to take care of,
Yes.
you know. So it's really the vocalist that can engage the crowd and put up a solid performance,
True. True.
you know.
तो ये एक बात बता, like
हाँ.
I have understood, like we were so busy during our college, okay,
हम्म.
like
हम्म.
so many studies था, फिर club थे, student politics था,
हम्म.
उसमें भी
हम्म.
goals थे, ड्रीम्स थे.
हम्म.
इस बीच में how did you manage to write?
Right. Okay. Sometimes I used to bunk classes,
Hmm.
uh, and I used to go out less frequently.
Hmm.
So you won't find me going out with friends to a trip somewhere, or just going out or शहर में घूमना. I rarely did that,
Okay.
you know, because मेरा time pass ही था writing books, playing games, and writing music.
Hmm.
तो मेरा वही टाइम पास था, तो वही मेरी दुनिया थी. तो ऑफ कोर्स समटाइम्स आई यूज्ड टू गो आउट, यू नो,
Hmm.
बट मेरा बाहर जाना वाज रियली सुट्टा पीने के लिए,
Hmm.
जस्ट अ सिगरेट आउटसाइड द कैंपस एंड वी यूज्ड टू मीट,
Yeah.
राइट. सो उतना ही मेरा बाहर जाना होता था, या तो दैट इंटर्नशिप आई यूज्ड टू वर्क फॉर
Hmm.
अ while, to pay for my cigarette
Expense.
expenses.
Yes.
so so it was for those reasons I used to go out of the campus. Very rarely I got out for a trip or anything. I don't remember going out of the city with friends during college
Okay.
at all. Yeah. So I should take that time and do it sometimes. And there were times when there were mass bunks. I should take advantage of that.
Hmm.
मौका मिल गया लिखते हैं. कभी कभार मैं खुद ही बंक मारता था. आइडिया आ गया, अरे अब तो लिखना है पेपर में, तो आई हैव टू पुट इट ऑन पेपर, आई हैव टू राइट इट ऑन द बुक, आई हैव टू गो एंड बंक. ऑल आई शुड टेक एडवांटेज ऑफ दोस थिंग्स. फिर
Hmm.
छुट्टी भी ज्यादा होता था. छुट्टी कंपैरेटिवली ज्यादा होता था. तो छुट्टी में जब लोग निकलते थे, आई हैव टू
Okay.
सिट एंड राइट. एंड हाँ, जब आइडियाज नहीं आते थे, आई यूज्ड टू प्ले गेम्स एंड वॉच अदर फिल्म्स
Hmm.
टू सी how they're pulling it off, and then I'll walk outside and get an idea out of nowhere. Then I'll put it in the book.
मतलब I just want to know your writing process and exactly when did you start writing? Because
Okay.
you were so busy right during your college time. तो मैं जानना चाहता हूँ
Huh.
कि exactly कब शुरू हुआ ये सब.
Okay. It's a funny story. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Sai, right?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So Sai took me to Gusak.
Mm-hmm.
The uh, गुसाक जहाँ पे होता है, वो बाबा बाजार के
हाँ,
पीछे,
I know.
बाजू में. तो वहां पे गया था, एंड देयर वाज दिस kid, I think his name was Ashutosh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know and he was telling about this cool fantasy story he was writing, or he would write, where he was planned. And I got that uh, vibe at the time कि नहीं, ये फेंक रहा है,
Mm.
you know we both got that vibe that he was blurting out nonsense and he was not going to write. And so after the entire charade that happened, we got out, and I told Sai, भाई ये फेंके या ना फेंके मैं तो पक्का लिखूंगा. So that's where it started. And Sai played a huge role in this book. The book is dedicated to him. The first page that you will see, I wrote it for Sai.
Okay.
Uh, so I mean, he played a huge role in the writing process. So I had a story in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, structurally, मैंने start, middle, end. It was decided.
Mm.
क्या होगा? I knew. Of course, उसके बीच में क्या होगा? I was doing an improv.
Mm.
I was seeing where it goes so that it meets the middle and the end smoothly. You
Mm.
know, मेरे हिसाब से जो smoothly लगा मैंने वैसे किया. And every chapter I wrote,
Mm.
I used to read it out to Sai,
Mm.
and he would tell कि क्या खामियां है, what I could do and what I couldn't do, and if I felt his advices were actually useful, and I would do it. Most of the time, it was useful,
Mm-hmm.
and I would do it my way, and I would show him, and he would be fine.
Mm.
And but the title of the book was not there; it was not decided. It took me more than a year to come up with the title. You know, तो साई बार बार मुझे बोलता था भाई बुक का नाम क्या है तू वो तो डिसाइड कर.
हाँ,
लाइक
like I've heard about it कि कुछ start करने से पहले start with the basic thing कि
या
title या logo तो तुम्हें और inspiration
या
मिलेगा to work on it करके.
या for me it was just the story that
Mm.
inspired me to finish. I knew I had something cool, what I thought was cool to write and finish, and I kept on going with that. So I used to research a bit. उसको कैसे लिखते हैं. I remember there was this chapter where वो तलवार बनवा रहा
Yeah,
है.
when we connected in the college regarding the book,
Yeah,
when you were telling me about the
yeah,
book, तो तू बता रहा
yeah,
था कि you were telling me to write a novel. उस समय
yeah,
एंड आई वाज लाइक यार नहीं स्क्रिप्ट सही सही है देन यू टोल्ड मी कि नहीं इट्स अ कूल थिंग आई हैव अ ड्राफ्ट वेयर मैं एक दो चैप्टर या फिर 1.5 चैप्टर बस तलवार बनाने में फोकस किया द वे इट्स
yes.
तो वो सब चीजें.
हाँ तो I needed to show that the character knew about swords.
हम्म.
वो तलवार बनाता है और वो ठीक करता है. He's a swordsmith.
या.
तो वो अब तो दिखाना है that he knows his stuff.
हम्म.
So I had to research on how swords were made. I read a book, I remember, on that.
हम्म.
I saw a few YouTube videos, you
हम्म.
know, to show कि कैसे, how you to check that if the sword is fine or not.
हम्म.
तो वो सब देख के I realized, yeah, let me take these parts just to let me just show that he knows his stuff. और वो तलवार बना सकता है, वो तलवार ठीक कर सकता है, that he knows about swords,
हम्म.
right? Otherwise if I just say मैं तलवार ठीक कर सकता हूँ वो थोड़ी ना होगा. But if you see him work on a sword, that's even then हाँ he knows his stuff, he's a swordsman. you know
Okay.
you can instinctively tell हाँ इसको पता है ये काम करता है.
Yeah,
you know you
exactly.
know तो वो करने के लिए मैं थोड़ा रिसर्च किया था. आई रिमेम्बर टेकिंग 2 weeks just to write that chapter, the best way I could, and it was rewarding. So it took me a while to finish the book,
Hmm.
and I was in KGP.
Hmm.
The book was over, and I was bragging about it. And whoever asked what's the name of the book, I couldn't tell. You know, I couldn't tell.
Hmm.
Uh, and then, yeah, it occurred to me, yeah, it's just as important as the story itself,
Yep.
because मेरे को क्या नाम में क्या है, कहानी सॉलिड होना चाहिए. तो कहानी सॉलिड हो या ना हो,
Hmm.
someone has to tell what is this story. So
Right.
you know so what I did was I ended up reading my book a number of times,
Mm-hmm.
and then I found a phrase, "the sins of our flag,"
Mm-hmm.
in one of the chapters, and I thought, yeah, it struck a chord, and that's I realized that's what the book is really about.
Yeah.
And then I put the name, "The Sins of Our Flag," and that's how it came up.
Cool, man. Cool, cool. Acha,
Yeah,
we'll wind the podcast in a while, but I have
yeah,
last two questions for you. What
yeah.
is the one life lesson you have learned in your college time, which is still
Hmm.
sticking by you? Like anything, like life lesson in general.
Yeah. Be your authentic self
Mm,
at as much as you can. Now, do not compromise whether लोगों को अच्छा लगे या ना लगे.
mm,
You know, be as you truly are. जो appreciate करेंगे वो रहेंगे,
mm.
जो नहीं करेगा वो निकल जाएगा. And that's best for you. And second thing is, जो मन में है बोलो,
Okay.
सही हो या गलत हो.
Mm,
अगर गलत हो तुम्हें लोग सही करेंगे. Those who care about you will
yeah.
tell you the correct thing. Those who won't will not.
Mm,
And but जो मन में है वो बोलना चाहिए. It should not be, stuck inside, वरना resentment पैदा होता है.
okay.
you know
Yeah.
that I couldn't tell this, I couldn't tell that. It affects relationships as well. you know दोस्ती में बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है, प्यार में भी प्रॉब्लम हो जाता है. तो जितना अपना मन में है, if you put it out there, then we can make it a more amicable friendship and relationship.
Mm-hmm.
you know तो अगर and be open to listening to someone else's problems as well with you,
Mm,
uh, because you don't want that person to resent you as well. you
mm-hmm.
know
Mm.
because resentment is bad, and that's where the toxicity starts coming in.
True,
you
true.
know yeah, जितना कम कर सकते हो उतना अच्छा है. And it's best if there is none, but वो तो होगा नहीं.
Ah,
But कम करने की कोशिश करो. you know
okay.
keep it at the minimum. That is more achievable than keeping it zero. Zero तो होगा नहीं, but अगर कम करो तो अच्छा है. It will be better, and you'll be remembered fondly. You'll remember others fondly as well. So I can look back about you and Sai and others, and not have terrible things to say, because we always kept our opinions straightforward, to whether we had problems with each other or not had problems with each other.
Mm-hmm.
We always kept it on the table, and we knew what we were thinking and what we were going through.
Mm-hmm.
So so even at the worst of the times, we still feel good, because we were both our authentic selves.
Mm.
you know So,
And एक और
uh,
चीज, the person
uh,
who are listening to our podcast, they might be
mm,
aspiring writers or else
mm,
singers, मतलब creative side भी pursue करना चाहते हैं.
mm,
So,
mm,
you know our Indian middle class mentality, culture, how
mm,
पढ़ाई पे focus important, कितना important है. I'm not telling it's not important, but
mm,
they emphasize studies and getting yourself a job. उतना
mm,
glorify कर देते हैं कि
mm,
they have some difficulties in following the passions and all.
mm.
तो उनके लिए तो कुछ कुछ कहना चाहेगा.
Okay, so I have a few things to say.
Hmm.
पहला, uh, पढ़ाई will help you in putting up your opinions better. You have terrible songs with terrible lyrics, because they don't have that level of these artists don't have that level of exposure. वो advantage तुम्हारे पास है, that you can put it entertaining as well as it'll sound good. कि अगर कोई बच्चा, a teenager who liked your songs and books right now, can grow old and say, yeah, I read some really deep stuff. you know Second, if you're actually interested in writing and all, you you will find a way to make sure that you are writing. you know you will make your own sacrifices to make sure that you are doing what you love. करना पड़े. You can't do everything. There's something or the other you'll have to give up, you know, to pursue your passion. Of course, when you're successful, you will have the time to pursue your other hobbies and other, you're spending time with your friends and other things as well. But until then, you will have to make some sacrifices, uh, you know, to keep doing what you want to do. And lastly, do not concern yourself कि लोगों को पसंद आएगा या नहीं. uh, be a critic of art yourself, because that's how you'll figure out about what you think art should be. And if you think that जो चल रहा है अच्छा नहीं है and you can do better, please keep it out, because क्या पता लोगों को सच में पसंद आए, and that could actually change the way we see stories and songs and everything.
Mm.
So you owe it to and this is not a thing you owe it to yourself, you owe it to everybody, all fans and lovers of art and music and books. So we owe it to ourselves and everyone कि जो हमें पसंद है we put it out and show कि नहीं ये भी एक तरीका है that can be engaging and entertaining and it can do well. So we have to show. Or and lastly, माने if you're not successful, don't be sad, because you should be you should be proud that of the fact that you still went out to achieve your dreams, whereas others just you know sat down in self pity and continued doing what they didn't want to do.
Mm.
You still went out to do what you want to do, and you should feel proud of that.
Okay, man, Dodo, those were like very nice words and all.
Yeah,
So hope viewers get inspired by your words, man. Okay. All
yeah, yeah.
writers I and please do reach out to Dodo. मैं तेरा LinkedIn का link डाल दूंगा, Instagram का link डाल
Think-
दूंगा, and I'll also put
हाँ,
up your a book Amazon link डाल दूंगा नीचे
yeah,
में. People do check
yeah,
out.
yeah,
Okay. And
yeah, yeah. Thank you, man.
it was so nice talking to you, man. आगे
You too, man.
देखते हैं और अच्छे topics के साथ, we'll go discuss certain topics in more specific manner. Okay.
हाँ,
And
जरूर,
it's
जरूर, जरूर.
always pleasure to talk to a writer because they
Yes.
dissect each situation and उनका perspective एक तरीके से नहीं देखते ना, they look at the
हाँ,
100 perspective.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
विश यू ऑल द बेस्ट मैन और
yeah, yeah.
मैं चाहता
Thank
हूँ
you.
कि तेरा बुक लाइक ओवर टाइम एक मेजर सक्सेस हो
Thank
एंड
you. Thank you so much.
ठीक है मैन दैट्स इट
Yeah, yeah. And next time, I really hope when we meet, I'll tell you why Titanic is, in my opinion, is not a romantic film. It's something else.
ओह ओके दैट इज द कॉन्वर्जेशन वो पॉडकास्ट मटेरियल
That
है भाई वो बात
yes,
करेंगे
that is podcast material. So I'll tell you why it's not
ओके
some other time, and बहुत मजा आएगा. And I really like talking to you, man. I told you right why, what kind of conversations I'm looking for, and you're one of those people I know I can have genuine, nice, and you know, सीखने को मिलता है as I talk to you. So I should feel that, and I feel that. So thank you so much for having me, man. Yeah,
मैन प्लेजर इज ऑल
and
माइन
yeah,
मैं आई
yeah,
हैव बीन
yeah.
थिंकिंग अबाउट अ
Thank
लॉट कि डोडो को बुलाना एंड फाइनली आई हैव एंड आई एम सो
yeah.
हैप्पी अबाउट द पॉडकास्ट
अरे अरे मेरे को भी लग रहा था भाई मेरे को कब बुलाएगा था. I was like finally बुलाए. Yes. Then I was very happy that you said. I was very happy. So thank you so much for having us.